Right. When you are ready.
Our film is called Binary, and binary basically means like opposites, and that will come clear why it's called that later on. And our unique selling point is it takes two minds to reveal the truth, and that will also come clear later on. The synopsis. Newly single mother of two, Alison Diaz has been a police officer almost 14 years. After struggling with her divorce, focuses all her time on her adopted son Tom's wedding. When Tom then revealed to Alison his fiancée cheated on him, the engagement was off. Days later, ex-fiancée Martha was found dead. After Alison was denied the case because of family involvement, fingers start to point at Tom. Ignoring her attachment, she gets involved in the case and struggles to deal with the worrying truth.
So as Joe said, our equilibrium is basically just her normal life. So she's just been divorced, and she's getting herself heavily involved in her son's wedding and her job to kind of keep her mind doing things rather than just being depressed. But things are gradually getting better and better and better, and then it turns out that the fiancé cheats on her son, which is the disruption part, and so that goes a bit wrong, and then so yeah, after they separate, he finds out the reason they separate is because she slept with his best man. So I don't know where I am. So yeah, a few days after separation, she's found dead, and obviously this kind of will obviously get told to by the police, and obviously she's not allowed to help with the case in any way at all because she's heavily involved in it. But she kind of gets herself involved anyway, and kind of pieces all these different bits together. And after a while, the best man dies as well, and obviously all the fingers are going to start to point into her son. And she then suddenly just starts to believe that it's her that's doing all this because she finds this diary that's got her handwriting in it, and it's all these planned murders and these things that she's planned. And we kind of realise that she's got two mindsets, like a really severe schizophrenia or something like that. And so that kind of puts her in a bit of a pickle, because she's kind of has to turn herself in and admit to her son that she's killed not only his fiancée but his best man as well. And so she then is arrested because she turns herself in, and she's in prison for 7 years. And I know that doesn't seem a long time, but it's different for psychiatric problems. But then after she gets out, she gets remarried and becomes a wedding planner.
Our main character is obviously Alison. She's, in our story, she's the protagonist and the antagonist. She's mother of two children, Tom, who's adopted, and she has a daughter as well. She worked as part of the police force for 14 years, and she's recently promoted to a sergeant. She's also recently divorced, and it was a messy divorce which sort of caused her mental disorder. Tom obviously recently broke off the engagement and was adopted quite young, so he is part of their family. And Tom's ex-fiancée, Martha, obviously cheated on Tom with his best man, and she gets shot quite early on in the film, and then later on in the film the best man gets killed.
We're going to start the opening title sequence with a wide camera shot in a field, and it's going to be of Tom and his fiancée arguing over him just finding out that she's cheated on him, or her telling him that she's cheated on him with his best man. It then cuts to a black screen and goes into short reel images, so stuff like seeing the divorce papers on the table signed by her ex-husband but not her, and then watching her slowly sign them. A clip of her police badge to show obviously that she's a sergeant. A hand taking off a wedding ring, which is kind of representative to Tom and her because he's obviously just broken up his engagement and she's divorced. Someone writing on a computer finding out information, so it's like she's getting involved in the case, and a clip of Alison's handwriting in a diary, which is how they get found. The last clip was of Tom's fiancée being shot close up and her tied on a chair, and then there's a blackout and you hear the gunshot. Between each slide there'll be a clip, it will cut to the black screen to show directors and actors and cameramen and stuff like that.
The genre of our film is a psychological thriller, obviously because of her mental disorder. And we got influences from a few different films. One of them was Black Swan, because in this film, obviously, she's got sort of a split personality and she doesn't really understand what's going on when she's in her different. So when she's in one personality, she doesn't remember things in her other one. And also Side Effects, because the woman in Side Effects pretends to have psychological illness, and when they think she's got this, she's killing people without realising. But then, obviously, in the end, it turns out she actually hasn't got this problem. But we sort of based it a bit on that as well.
So these are our locations. Both of these are taken in it's called Rottingdean, which is just on the coast. And this one here is where the argument we filmed right at the start of the opening title sequence. And we kind of picked that because it's such an empty open space, and it kind of really sets the scene as well, because you can see all around it, and it's just kind of doubles up as like an establishing shot, if you like, as well, to kind of show us where we are. And the church on the left is where we're going to hopefully film some shots of like gravestones, a little bit of stuff like that, just to kind of reinforce the idea that within the film there'll be kind of scenes of death and stuff like that. We'll also be using the church for, there's an office inside, it's actually my cousin's church, so there's an office inside it which we'll be allowed to use some shots of, like, you know, she's shining with divorce papers and everything like that. So there are two locations which we're mainly going to be using.
To market our film, we'll obviously use social media sites, but so things like Twitter and Facebook, but when you put it on, there'll be links to the film's website and also for the trailer. And then we'll make a trailer and put it on TV, online and stuff like that. Use posters around Brighton so that people can see it. Maybe adverts in newspapers and interviews like on TV and online so that people can see the characters in it and learn more about them.
Any questions?